Hello and welcome to the Roughneck Minute, a Movies by Minute podcast where we're going over the movie Starship Troopers 1 minute at a time. I'm one of your hosts, Matthew.
And I'm your other host, Johan.
And we're at minute 73. This minute begins with Ace saying that he sounds like quite a guy and ends with a warrior bug crying out. So yeah, Ace just got decked by Corporal Birdie. And everyone was saying that, hey, you know, the lieutenant is a heck of a guy.
Yeah, it also, was it at the last minute where they start to say, like, they also got saved by the lieutenant?
Yes, we do. And also we get a little bit of Corporal Birdie saying, you know, well, who do you think saved your ass to Rico?
Oh, yeah.
Because, and he looks around and he's like, oh, I don't know. Who did save my ass? But do you think we're going to find out?
Yeah. One thing I also noticed in the script that I think I forgot to mention at the last episode was Birdie points out to Johnny that she says nice earring.
Oh.
Because remember, like, there's that one soldier that after each drop he had, like, you know, earrings, kind of like instead of the military tags. So I guess she points out that he's starting to wear earrings as well. Because remember, they were all kind of jealous of that first soldier that had like 3 of them.
Yeah.
So this one, she points it out to him that he has an earring. So I guess in the script they were starting to wear their colors or whatever it would normally be for their badges.
Yeah, so in the book, it's kind of the same thing where after his first drop, he does start wearing it. But when he gets to, as we'll find out who this squad is, it's the Roughnecks. After he gets with them, he stops wearing it because it starts to not matter how many drops he's done.
Yeah.
Because apparently these guys are the best. And regardless of how many drops you've done, you're just a roughneck.
Yeah. When they talk about how many drops this group has actually done, they would just be having way too much on as far as jewelry goes.
Exactly.
Because they seem to be moving around, and they're at places where there's actual sorties going on.
Mm-hmm.
So they would just be decked out in jewelry if they wore everything.
And that's why they're not wearing any.
Yeah. But in the script, there's a reason why they're not wearing any. It's just I forgot to mention in the last script that Johnny walks in with the earring.
Okay.
So, well, we'll go on, and I'll interject when it actually happens.
Okay, cool. Well, yeah, Johnny, you know, kind of wonders like who actually did save him. He still kind of doesn't know. And then we get a guy, I guess, a somewhat petty officer or lower officer who says, you know, stand by, attention on deck, and everyone snaps to attention. And then we get the music, and we get a outstretched metal hand that kind of stretches a little bit and then just gets up into a ball of a fist. And I guess this is going to be the lieutenant.
Yeah. Remember in the script when John Robert was also here, I was talking about how Johnny already knew who saved him. It seems to be only in the movie that they kind of hide the reveal. Because in the scene where Ace gets punched, Johnny is already privy to the information that he knows it's the teacher. Because remember, Ace asked him, "You knew him like he from Buenos Aires?" And he's like, "Yeah, he was a teacher then." So the pacing's a little bit weird. That they're doing it with this reveal compared to what the script should have been like. I don't know. I think I'm on board with John Robert with the way they should have teased the hand while Johnny was in that tank.
Yeah, I agree. They should have teased the hand, but we should find out who it is, like we're doing right now. Like if they just had like a little hand, and then now we have this scene where we find out, spoiler alert, it's Rathcheck.
Yeah.
And that would have been a great thing, like, you know, like, oh, the tapping of the metal hand, and then you see the metal hand again outstretch and then clinch. And, oh, it's the same guy. We're going to learn who the lieutenant is, and it zooms up, follows him like it does in the movie right now, which is a great scene. I actually absolutely love this shot where it's, you know, following his hand, following his back, and he's just walking.
Yes. So Rashek comes in and looks like Johnny and Diz do double take because they obviously recognize him. I kind of like the way they did the double take on this because it seemed, other than the fact, pretty appropriate. That like, oh wait, who the hell? Like,
Yeah.
Diz does a really good double take
Oh, she does too.
because
Rico does the one take, and then he's like, "Oh, it's him."
yeah, because Diz kind of tries to keep the military formal, where she just kind of looks in the corner of her eye, and she's like trying to look at attention, like straight ahead. But then at the second take that she does, or of the double take, like she really can't believe it that she's like, "Oh my god, it's Ratchet."
Yeah. Like, oh wait, are my eyes deceiving me? Is that him?
So yeah, Johnny just makes this hard eye look at Ratchet, where he definitely recognizes him, and he's had enough one-on-one conversations with Ratchet that he knows that they're familiar with each other. And then so it comes to the part where Ratchet says he has these, where he welcomes the new recruits. And he says that, this is for you new people. I only have one rule. Everyone fights, no one quits. In the script, he actually says two rules. Everyone fights is one rule, no one quits is the second one.
So it's kind of like a Fight Club thing.
I think so, but I think rule 2 kind of means no one leaves this platoon. Like it'll always be the Roughnecks for you. Like the minute you're in the Roughnecks, you're it. You won't become a Wildcat later on or anything else any other group will have. You are a Roughneck. So after he says like, if you don't do your job, I'll kill you myself. Do you get me? Then we get you, sir. Mm-hmm. That part's still the same, except now Rashek points at Johnny's ear and says, "Get rid of the jewelry. I hate it. Welcome to the Roughnecks."
Yeah.
So no one here on the Roughnecks wears any jewelry whatsoever. So I guess it keeps everybody kind of like on an even keel. Like you're all Roughnecks. You're all the same.
Yeah.
And then that's where they say Ratchek's Roughnecks.
Mm. But in the movie, he doesn't say, "I'll kill you myself." He just says, "I'll kill you."
Yeah.
Which is a little different. And yeah, no earrings in this one at all. But I absolutely love when Raschek, says, "I only have one rule." And he has that middle finger on Rico's chest.
Yeah. I mean, it's the same about when he used the stub to point at Rico, like way early in the movie. Mm-hmm. But otherwise, as far as the script goes with Ratchet, everything's pretty much the same as a script as it was in the scene. The whole thing about there's a new Sky Marshal. So all right, so the line is, all right, there's a new Sky Marshal and a new plan. We're gonna clean out the systems, outline and cleanse Dathu one plan at a time. Tomorrow we'll hit Tango Urilla. After Fleet glasses the planet, MI mops up. Same exact thing.
Pretty much, yeah. That's word for word.
So when they glass the planet, that's not necessarily nuking at some point, is it? It's more just like a incendiary or napalm.
So this is what I've thought of, and I guess we can get into it right now a little bit too. But I have a problem with the term glass in this movie because glassing usually means that the ground is so superheated that the ground itself turns into glass itself, like mirror sheen, that there's so much heat or there's so much energy in the explosions or whatever you're doing that the ground itself turns to glass.
Yeah, it's like the soil kind of getting so hot that it fuses with all the other soil that it becomes a glass, correct?
Exactly. Yes, that's why it gets so hot and everything. It's usually like with plasma weapons or nuking or something like that. Yeah, that would glass a planet kind of thing.
So right after this is where they kind of have that surface shot of the planet. Mm-hmm. Here's one thing that is a little bit different than the script. Oh, never mind. Strike that. It's at the end of the minute, actually. So after he discusses the plan, he says, carry on. Which is kind of like a really good way to just end that particular scene, even though the minute starts off with that bug screaming and is back in, I think this was South Dakota. Yeah,
Yep.
it was South Dakota. So they're in wherever the outlying planet is, back to South Dakota. So we have the warrior that's screaming, and a whole lot of warriors in the background. This is actually really awesome CG, and I love it.
Oh yeah.
And one of the things I noticed compared, like, so I remember you discussing that when it's nighttime, it's a little bit easier to hide the coloring and everything like that, and I get that. One of the things I like about this scene, when especially not because we had the time to pause it, there are shadows on these bugs.
Yeah.
Which is something that's normally overlooked because you don't have that much memory to create shadows for everything, because it's only going to slow down the actual process of creating this cinematic scene.
Yeah, it's kind of the same thing like right now, if you play computer games or any kind of video game, you turn down the shadows on that game, you get a lot more frames per second kind of thing.
Yes. I mean, the bugs in the distance are a little bit janky, but the ones that not in the foreground but kind of in the middle, that's running across like that whole herd, I guess, a herd of bugs, a swarm. I'm not quite sure.
I would say a swarm. Yeah, this would be a swarm.
Yeah. I do want to say swarm, but they're huge. That's why I'm calling them like a herd, because it could be like a stampede. Because when they start running, it would be considered like kind of a stampede, because if you get caught underneath, you'd be dead. Whereas if you run across a swarm of bugs, they just get in your mouth and you're like, bleh. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. That it's the only reason why I want to call it a stampede and a herd. It's just because of the sheer size of the bugs themselves.
Yeah. So it could be, yeah, this is for, we could either call this a colony of bugs, an army of bugs, a state of bugs, or swarm.
Yeah, you see, but those are terms of bugs.
Yes.
You know, like less than a fist size.
Mm-hmm.
But these are the size of cows. Actually bigger than cows.
I get it, but I mean, even if a moose was like 10 times the big, you know, or a crow was 10 times the size of a normal crow, like in, you know, in what is it, Dark Souls or whatever the hell, you got like 100 of those, you still call it a murder.
But it's, I guess, I mean, I wanted to say, but they're still crows, but then that would make it that these are still bugs.
They are still bugs.
Yeah. I don't know. But you know the reason why I want to call it a herd and a stampede.
Because it's huge, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you can call it a clue if you want.
A what?
A clue, CLEW. It's a clue of worms.
Ah. Yeah, but they won't stampede you.
How about a pail of wasps? A pail of bugs.
Okay, I can get with that.
Or a plaged. These are for wasps. I'm looking up different collective names for different things, and I'm looking at all the insects.
No. You know what? The pail is actually good, because that's something we never kind of pointed out, is the coloring. They look like yellow jackets or wasps.
Ah,
so okay. I'm down with that. I'm down with calling it a pail.
Yeah. Okay, let's call them a pail of bugs.
Yeah, a pail of warriors.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Ooh, that sounds awesome.
Yeah. Because it sounds like, hey, you could actually, it's not the exact pail as well to like carrying a pail, but it sounds like there are so many that you can just get a giant pail and scoop them all up. You can also call them a scourge.
Ooh.
A scourge, because that's for mosquitoes, a scourge of mosquitoes.
Yeah. Oh, that's rad. All right.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of like that.
Either pail or scourge. Or we can just do a whole entire ladybug and just go a loveliness of warriors.
Yeah. Wait, how many legs does a warrior have? 8, and then the 2 scyther things, correct?
Yes. So those would be mandibles. So a general for insects, because it's going to be a swarm.
Mandibles are mouth.
Well, I mean, these would be like little feeding mandibles. These would be like side mandibles, kind of like how the queen alien in Aliens has the 2 little tiny arms at her chest.
You mean like kind of like crabs have, like right up front, the ones that look like little fins?
Yeah, kind of. They're like that.
Hmm.
Those are for mostly like feet, like probably taking stuff out of their giant mandible.
Oh, okay. And then now they've just kind of evolved to use them as weapons, sort of
Hmm.
thing.
Yeah.
Hmm. All right. I'm trying to see if any other six-legged bug that is just as ferocious as them. And the only ones I see are
Um,
like wasps, uh, possibly whip scorpions.
I was thinking more scorpions than anything else, just because scorpions are technically arachnids as well too.
True.
So, but they're not as fast. They're not as well, they're as dangerous for sure. But
Huh. There's one thing I notice here.
hmm,
The coloring is kind of like a Jerusalem cricket.
yeah,
I don't know, but I'd like to say they're more like a yellow jacket though.
I want to say more like a yellow jacket at all. So I mean, we could either do swarm or pale. Or what was the other one I
The
said?
scourge.
Scourge, swarm, or pale. That's what we're
Yeah.
gonna say. Either all of those are gonna be really good because insect is just a general swarm.
True. I think I'm gonna go with scourge, just like
Okay.
the transformer.
Yeah.
He was a really cool one.
He was, wasn't he?
Yeah. Were you more of like a Decepticon collector or
Oh
Autobot?
yeah, for sure. I love the Decepticons because I mean you had all like the normal like everyday things that could be an evil, robot. Like oh, you could have like a I mean Soundwave was one of my favorites.
Yeah, he was the only Decepticon I actually owned.
Okay, I have Starscream as well too.
See, but then I also had like what's it, Laserbeak and Ravage. So I
Oh,
had
okay.
technically three, but they came with the set. But
Yeah.
when it came to Transformers, I definitely owned more Autobots. Um, uh, was his name? Pathfinder? Pathfinder?
Yes.
Yes,
I think so.
he was the first one I got. And then I got Soundwave.
Mhm.
Yeah. And then oh wait, no, I did love the Constructicons.
Constructicons were okay, but that was just I didn't really get into them too much,
But they were the
just
first
because
combiner though.
they were.
And then after them, as far as the combiners go, I think I got more Decepticons. I like them more than I did the Autobots.
See, that's my thing too. I'm no matter what, like even like with wrestling or any other kind of like media that I consume, I always really really like the bad guys the most. I don't know why.
See, because I also had the Stunticons, who are like still one of my favorites.
Stunticons were just I don't know second banana though.
Yeah, I know, but the fact that like when you're playing around with them, you get to make them do flips because they're supposed to. That's just like rad.
Yeah.
But I think when it came to the combiners, it's like, okay, they become big and it's Destructicons. And then it's like single Autobots. I always had to beat them. So it's like, because I had Slag and Sludge.
Oh, okay.
And, crud, what was his name? I never had Grimlock.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, that was probably a really big one though. Anyway,
Yeah, he was hard to find.
that's
But
kind of like getting the Technodrome from Ninja Turtles. Anyway, I mean,
yeah.
those things were massive.
But then always my favorite dinosaurs always have been the Triceratops and Stegosaurus. So
Yeah.
when they had them as Transformers, I immediately grabbed them.
Oh, I'm sorry. They're not Transformers. They're called the
Dinobots.
Dinobots.
Yeah. I know. But
And then I got into Beast Wars, which was kind of the same thing except with animals, like the gorilla and all that other stuff.
I never got into Beast Wars. I saw the cartoon or the CG cartoon.
God, that was horrible.
It was really bad.
It was super bad. It looked like Reboot, but except Reboot came out like 5 years earlier.
Yeah, and Reboot had better mouth animation than the Beast Wars did.
Yeah. Man, but yeah, I mean, yeah, same thing. I mean, like the bad guy robots, the bad guy anything. Cobra, I absolutely love Cobra most of the time in GI Joe. I mean, one of my favorite characters talking about Reboot, Hexadecimal. I absolutely love her.
Hexadecimal was great. She was one of the best characters in that whole show.
She's like literally insane, and her mask is broken all the time, so she has to keep changing it over and over again to show her emotions. At the very end, Bob fixes it and everything. She's super sweet about it, but she's one of the best characters just because she's like manic and crazy and just wants destruction.
Yeah. Oh, did
And then Megabyte is just okay. He's just
yeah.
a basic bad guy.
He was a basic like overlording bad guy, but Hexadecimal was a better villain.
Oh, so much better.
Did you see the documentary of Toys That Made Us?
Oh yes, I love the toys that made us.
The G.I. Joe one was hilarious. How they came up with Snake Eyes. They just got lazy. This is like the best.
It really is. I've never really gotten to the small GI Joes. I was always into the 12-inch figures.
See, I was into G.I. Joes.
Okay, the small ones, yeah.
Yeah, I had Tunnel Rat, who was shorter than all the others.
Well, he had to be.
Yeah, that's what's so funny was he was actually like you compare him by height next to all the GI Joes, and he was shorter.
I mostly had. I mean, I really never had the 3-inch toys of any of them. I mostly had like, what was it? He-Man. I had a couple of those. I had the sword, the light up sword.
Oh, really?
And then, yeah, the one that you press it and Adam comes on and says, I have the power. I had a birthday at my mom. So my mom used to work at Carl's Jr., for anyone who knows. She was the manager at Carl's Jr., and in her infinite, I say graciousness, I suppose, she let me have my birthday party at Carl's Jr. Again, this is in the mid-90s, early to mid-90s when I was like 6-7 years old, and I got He-Man everything. This was like at the very, very end, the tail end of He-Man fame or fandom, which was like early 90s.
Yeah.
So I got like Adam, I had, Thundercat, I'm sorry, Warcat, and I got the sword. And
Wait.
the sword was my favorite.
No, it was Battle Cat.
I'm sorry, Battle Cat.
Yeah.
Gosh, I mean, it hasn't been so long since I had those things anyway. But, I mean, the sword was the most amazing thing. It was just the basic sword. You press the buttons, lights up, it goes crazy, and I was in love with that thing. But, I don't know, like, I never had, like, any of the smaller 3-inchers besides, besides the Starship Trooper toys. Like, I mean, I had the Thunderbolt. That's what I had.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm trying to get us back to Starship Troopers.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just had the Thunderbolt and a couple of I had Rico and Ace, the Jetpack Ace and everything.
Okay.
That was really it. Like, honestly, I never really played with 3-incher toys. Just mostly 12-inchers and Legos and cars. But it was always the bad guys,
Yeah. See, but I went from G.I. Joe to Micro Machines. So I always had the smaller toys.
Micro Machines were amazing.
Yeah.
I had the one playset which was like the minivan that turned into a city that had like the city, the river, the bridge on it, and like there was a little mountainscape or something like that as well too.
Yeah.
Remember that one? Yeah, that was good.
I had the car battery that turned into the airport.
I remember that one too.
And then I had the carburetor that turned into like a car wash.
And I think I had like a toolbox one as well too.
Yeah.
That was great.
Yeah. Man, I loved Micro
all those
Machines.
Toys. Yeah, all those toys were amazing because this was after Mighty Max and all that other stuff where you had like pocket like toys that you can fold up and take with you. But I just had this great time with this little tool chest thing. You open it up and there's a play set inside of it. You throw all your Micro Machines in there. You can play tiny little toys. It was great. They were expensive as hell, but you got like 3 of them for like $5 at the time, I think.
Yeah, it was just about. And a lot of times I had a good combination of toys in there, like different vehicles.
Mm-hmm.
Like for some reason, the vans always were super fast.
Oh, the vans were like just perfect weight, perfect balance, and everything for just going down anything.
Yeah.
But and then I think they had a few die-cast ones too. Those were great.
Yes. I never got the big ones like the DeLorean and all that, like the A-Teams van.
No, I never did either.
Yeah, I wasn't able to get those, but I don't know. I still had a lot of fun with the regular ones.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm trying to get Elliot started early on that stuff. He really loves cars. And my wife and I were actually discussing it today, how oh gosh, I hope we're not forcing cars on him. And we're really not, because, he absolutely loves watching Cars, the movie, and then absolutely just loves, cars by themselves, like Hot Wheels and whatnot. So, but he's a little too young for Micro Machines, so he can't really have many of mine yet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But that's really where that minute ends, and we've tangented enough to make it go a little longer than what I thought it was going to go, so fantastic. We've done it.
Yeah, another success.
Another tangent. I mean, it was a really short minute. I mean, there was really not that much, and there was just, the reintroduction of Ratchek, and showing off that he's an amazing teacher who was teaching what he could know, and then he's now teaching his squad.
Yeah. I mean, we get into these kind of these shorter minutes. It's weird to say. I mean, it's still 60 seconds, but not a whole lot actually happens like anywhere around the scene. It's literally only that scene and that everything happens. And that's kind of what we were faced against in this episode.
Yeah, the next one's going to be kind of the same thing because we just get, we'll see in the next minute.
Yeah, they're just walking around in South Dakota.
Yeah. All right, guys. Johan, where can they find you then?
You guys can find me on Twitch and Instagram at JDASHD26. You can also find me on Twitter at OMG It's Johan.
And you guys can find me at AltTabMatt pretty much anywhere on the internet, Twitch, Instagram, Twitter. But you can also follow the show on Twitter at The Roughneck Min, M-I-N. You can go to our website, theroughneckminute.podbean.com, for any past episodes or show notes, including the show notes from last week's with John Robert and Crystal Beth, looking at all their amazing stuff that they've been doing. Shout out to them, Fifth Element, and the Unlimited Lives podcast. Thank you guys again for being on our podcast.
Yeah, I know. They were great guests. I've never been so excited to listen to our own episodes just to listen to them talk again. It was great.
A little inside baseball. Johan actually, in our first episode on Monday, said that he thought he was actually listening to an episode on Unlimited Lives, and he really didn't talk too much because he was just so kind of, fangirling out. So shout out to you guys.
Yeah, I was absolutely just geeking out with that they were there. It was great.
I mean, if you listen to the show, Johan, on Unlimited Lives, you can hear, they poop just like us. John Robert poops every week. Every week. He poops just like us. They're just real people. But you can also go to our Facebook group, the Roughneck Minute Billet, to continue the conversation and talk about your toys that made you back in the day. Did you have any Starship Trooper toys, or was it all Micro Machines toys? Or, hey, Tamagotchis. Those were a thing.
Oh, I had one.
We all had one, man.
Yeah, but then I discovered Digimon. I did. I was looking for something to do while we were waiting for the graduation commencement speech and everything. So it's like, I'm going to bring something onto the field. And I went to Walmart and found Digimon.
Oh, gosh. Yeah. I hated Digimon so much because I thought, this is just a ripoff of Pokemon and Tamagotchi. Bull crap, man.
Oh, they were fun.
I bet they were, but I just never got into them.
Yeah.
You can also rate and review us on iTunes, Google Play, or Stitcher, or any other podcast you guys can find. We'd really appreciate it. But I've been one of your hosts, Matthew.
And I've been your other host, Johan.
And we will see you on the Bounce Troopers.